What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 102 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. Apologies there. That was quite the intro. As we were going live, Matt, it looked like his camera fell or something like that. But my name is Dave Knittel. I'm here with my two brothers, Christian and Matt, discussing stories from around the soccer world. Christian, hello.
Hello.
That's Christian, everybody. Matt, hello.
Hello.
Okay. Careful with whatever your cord hitting the mic or whatnot. But yeah, because that keeps happening. But listeners or viewers, hello. Welcome to us. This is episode 102. I have the YouTube stream up here. Feel free to say hello, interact with us, chime in with any comments you have on anything we talk about during this podcast. And yeah, we'll do our best to respond in all of that. And we thank you for joining us for the next hour or so. And I think we're ready to jump right into things. Christian, did you find a trivia question?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to be paying attention? You're pulling a Matt right now where you're watching television while we're recording. Okay. All right. Matt, are you ready to go?
Do I have to pay attention or?
Yes, please.
Okay.
No, ideally both of you would pay attention. So, that's the ideal situation. But
what?
All right. Ready? What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 102 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. My name is Dave Knittel, here with my two brothers, Christian and Matt, to discuss stories from around the soccer world. Christian, hello. How are you doing today?
We're getting dangerously close to 2 full years here, Dave.
Yes.
Podcast every week. That's crazy.
Yes.
I'm doing well now with that information,
Yeah, we passed our 2-year anniversary from a timing perspective. That was a couple weeks ago. But on an episode perspective, yes, we are getting close. Are you enjoying having the house to yourself?
The house is just wonderful, Dave. And I had a couple of games this weekend. I didn't play neither because I'm recovering from an injury. But my teams won 5-0 and 8-0. So 13 goal aggregate for a weekend is not too bad for 2 games.
So you're replaceable is what you're telling everybody.
Yeah.
All right. Matt, hello. How are you doing today?
Doing great, Dave. Thanks for asking. I was also home this weekend with Christian, but now I'm back up at school, ready to finish up my last 2 weeks.
All right.
Excited.
That's exciting times. I'm happy to hear that you won, so I assume you're in a good mood?
Yeah, I'm in great mood.
Okay. Guys, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for asking. Took Kristen to the airport, so I'm going to be on my own for this next week, which means sleeping on the couch. I don't have to make the bed. I can just kind of hang out, and it's going to be a glorious week.
Are you going to use your Ninja Turtle blanket?
Oh, of course I'm going to use my Ninja Turtle blanket.
Yes.
Yeah, of course I am. But I love you, hon, and I miss you because I know you listen to these. And Christian, do you have a trivia question this week?
I do have the trivia question. So Manchester City, Matt, this one's for you.
Okay.
They have a record amount of shots faced per game. Can you list that number? I don't know why I said it that way.
Your trivia questions are always weirdly phrased.
I know, because I don't have it up, and then I have to find it, and it's just very annoying.
Before we go live, I literally say, do you have our trivia question?
I do, and then it just closes down because it takes too long for you to get to me, and then my phone shuts off. And
okay, listeners,
like a whole thing.
To reframe
Let's start that over. No, I'm going to do it again.
No, we're rolling with this. All right, so to reframe it, City is facing I assume, the fewest number of shots per game. What is that figure? Correct, Christian?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, wow. It made it seem like they were facing a record high number of shots.
Yeah, he phrased it oddly, but I assumed he meant that. But listeners, you will think on that. We'll think on it. Matt and I will give our guesses before Christian reveals the answer.
Let me just say that it's a very specific number to the 100th digit.
Okay. And is it for this season? What time period are we talking about?
Ever.
No, just it's on a season basis. So yes, okay. Right now.
So it's for this season. Okay, all right. So listeners, hopefully you followed all that. I know we did. Matt, I'm going to kick it over to you. I feel like I was
very clear.
Yes, you absolutely were. Matt, over to you.
Okay, hi, welcome everyone. We are changing the name of my segment here. We are now calling it Matt's Megs. Shout out to a different Matt who gave me this idea, soccer-related term. Christian had Christian's Corner. So I figured I would have a soccer term. So welcome to Matt's Megs. All right, so this week we're going to be talking about the United States men's national team. Sorry, I was saying USMNT in my head and then saying it out loud. So the United States men's national team finally appointed a head coach for their their senior team, Greg Berhalter. Let's start with Christian. Seemed very excited there. What do you think about the signing?
I think, thank God, we have somebody. I don't really care who it is at this point. Just get somebody and get some consistency flowing with our team selection and actual tactics. It seems like it's been forever because it has been. Greg Berhalter is fine. I don't think that he's going to light the world on fire. I think that he will stay through this cycle, and then we'll probably have somebody new because that seems to be the way of international management and seems to be the successful way.
All right. Dave?
Yeah, I'm excited that we have somebody. I'm excited by Berhalter from the standpoint of in Columbus, he was very much a system manager. And at the national team level, I think that bodes well because, you have players that you pick to fit into your system and, you're not getting too sort of crazy with tactics and whatnot. If you implement a system, everybody kind of knows what to expect, what you're expecting from a selection perspective, but also from an execution perspective. I think that's really good. The one point of concern I have is Columbus wasn't exactly known for developing sort of youth players. Kind of the case right now, Romain Gall, who was let go by Columbus, is now over in Europe and kind of up and coming and doing really well. And Columbus really hasn't done a great job of integrating their youth. And with the national team right now, it's pretty much all youth from my perspective and what we need to do. So that's my only slight concern with Berhalter. But overall, I'm happy with the appointment. I think he will end up doing well.
So
sorry. Can I follow up?
Yeah, you follow.
Sorry, I don't know if this was going to be your question, but Dave just said doing well. What do you consider doing well for the U.S. national team job?
Qualifying for the World Cup. No. In actuality, winning the Gold Cup, at least one of the next two. On top of that, qualifying for the World Cup, getting out of the group stage, and I think that would be well, especially coming from not qualifying this past.
That would be well.
Yeah, that would be well. Anything beyond that, I think, would be really good.
Swell.
Yeah, so for me, I'm just excited that we have appointed, a manager. I mean, it seemed like he was going to be the person appointed for some time now, even though it was kind of, behind the scenes or shady from the way it was presented to the public. So for me, I don't know if I love it. I kind of wanted to go with a European manager. I think we need a period of our young players who are going to take over going forward. I feel like most of them are playing in Europe, and for me, I wanted more of a high-profile manager to kind of take over, somebody who knows all the tactics, has played at all the levels, because these players are playing overseas, in the top leagues, and I don't think that coming home and playing for a manager that's not American would have made that much of a difference. I think they could have been able to adjust, and I think they might be a little bit more knowledgeable about the world game than Berhalter is. That's just my opinion about it. Do you guys have anything to prove me wrong about?
Played at the international level, so he does have experience in that regard. He at least saw it happening and had a couple different managers while he was a player. So he has a little bit of background, and like Dave said, he's a tactical manager where he's very focused on the system instead of specific players, and I think that is what we needed right now.
Yeah, I want to say he played overseas. It may not have been long, but I think he did play overseas, and also he managed overseas before he came back to MLS. It was very short and wasn't at the top level, but he does have a little bit of that experience. I had another point there.
I think also we need somebody who's focused on MLS and growing the U.S. soccer brand.
To an extent, yeah, to an extent. Oh, damn it. I just had it and I lost it. Oh.
Okay, well, you think...
No,
you got it. You go.
Yeah, I got it, so don't let me forget this. Not that I'm saying we're going to win the World Cup, but every team that has won the World Cup... No, listen. Every team that has won the World Cup has had a manager that was from their country. And so it's not... Yeah, it's not, I guess proving anything, but there is something to say about that. And so him being American may be helpful. So I don't know. I just wanted to throw that out as well. Sorry, Matt. What were you going to say?
God damn it, Dave. Now I forget. Oh, yeah. So do you guys
Is it about how Dave steals ideas and tries to make them his own?
Yeah, no. But, so do you have a problem with, what's the position that his brother, Jay, is in? He's... What is he? Somewhere high up in USSF. Do you think there's anything shady going on? They said that he was in no way involved in the hiring of Berhalter, but do you guys kind of believe that, or do you have a problem with it?
I Well, first of all, I want to say his brother's name is Craig. I still want to believe that, but so I don't think that there's anything shady. I think that it could get you in the door for an interview, just like having someone, like having a sibling or a family member in any company can. But you still have to nail it down and get the job. So I don't think that there's really anything shady behind the scenes there.
Yeah, Jay recused himself. Go ahead, Matt.
Okay.
Recused.
I'm saying, like, but for a job this high profile, I feel like it's not the same thing as applying to work, at your brother's company or something like that.
Yeah, but so
I work for my brother's company.
Yeah, Jay recused himself from the hiring process. On top of that, they've both worked really hard to get to where they are in their careers. And by all accounts, I mean, Berhalter does meet a lot of the requirements for a national team. It wasn't like this is his first job ever. And I'm sorry, Greg, I should say, because they're both Berhalter. Greg, worked hard to get to where he is, and Jay has worked really hard to get to where he is, kind of on the inside and on the business side of things. And so because they've done that doesn't mean that they can't be hired. And so for me, I don't have an issue with this. I know the optics maybe don't look great, and a lot of people want to speculate on all that stuff. But for me, I'm fine with it.
All right, fair enough. Okay. I don't want to relate this to basketball, but it's a whole big thing with Colangelos and the Sixers and how families, I think, in sports is not a good thing. For me, I have bad experiences, so I'm very against this. But is there anything else you guys want to add?
But you don't like if Colangelo, I don't know their names, but if one Colangelo was a GM
Brian.
and another one, and another one was like a coach who was like a really good player. He played with the U.S. basketball team and then became a head coach. Like, what if he was like qualified? Like, I don't know.
Well, okay, so for the soccer podcast, this is a little, but the Colangelos were among the biggest families you could have in basketball. They knew everything. They were basically running like U.S. basketball.
So they were the mob of basketball.
Yeah, they're the worst, but they're gone now. And now it's a new era, so hopefully that's not what the U.S. soccer is going to follow after. But you guys have anything else to add?
No. Sorry.
Okay, moving on. So for moving across. Sorry, let me just restart that. Moving across the pond to Europe, UEFA is announcing a new club competition for starting in the 2021 season called the UEL2, which is like the second Europa League for more teams to qualify for European competitions. I think it's similar setup, it looks like, to Europa League. There's going to be 32 teams. They want to include more countries and be more inclusive with their club competitions. Dave, what's your opinion of this competition?
So I don't know enough about like second and third tier leagues and how they view the Europa League, but I know from a like Premier League, Bundesliga perspective, a lot of teams don't like playing in those competitions because the money isn't necessarily that great, and it oftentimes impacts their domestic league form. Champions League's a little bit different because the money is so great and you can build squads that are deeper with that. So with the Europa League, like, I don't know how the Ukraine views, the Europa League, and if it is kind of successful and a positive for their teams, or if it is an additional burden and expense for them and the money isn't necessarily the greatest. And so that leads into like from kind of a big league perspective, which is what I kind of know a little bit more, this doesn't make sense. Like, I don't know how excited Fulham's a bad example, like Leicester will be to qualify for this like second tier Europa League. Like, I think from an English perspective, even a Bundesliga and all the kind of big five leagues, I don't know how much it makes sense. But if this is something that would be welcomed by, the second and third tier leagues, I don't know, maybe it does make sense, but I just don't know enough.
Okay. Christian?
I really don't like this because I agree with Dave. People kind of look down on the Europa League as a meaningless competition, and I don't think people are going to take it seriously. I don't know what the reward is for winning it. Are you getting a spot in the next Champions League as well? Or are you just getting in maybe the Europa League that is above?
If you win, you go to the Europa League.
Yeah, see, that's not financially, like, I really don't think that that's really worth it. And the teams that are going to be in there are like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. Like, I think that the teams that could actually win that competition are getting more money from their domestic leagues, substantially more money than they would be from this competition, and finishing higher in the league is a higher priority. It might be looked on as like a joke, and I know you said that, is there really 32 teams? Because I think the Europa League is 48.
Yeah, there's 32, I think. That's what I saw.
Are
But,
maybe
yeah.
they're going to change the Europa League, though, to down to 32, so there's no round of 32 anymore. I would like to see that, maybe. That would be cool.
The article I read, I don't think it had like all the details, but it said there's 32 teams, and then there's like it's not only like the top two advance like the Champions League, it's like somehow a playoff with the second place teams and the third place teams going forward. So then that reminds me of Europa League with an even bigger knockout stage. So I'm not sure like exactly how it's going to work, but it's not coming around until 2021. So I assume we'll have a little bit of time to figure it out.
Yeah,
Dave?
I also don't understand how business-wise this would make sense. Like, is there that big of a demand from a TV perspective to have this competition? Because the only way this makes sense is if they can get the TV rights to cover and the sponsors to cover all of these things to incentivize people, and I just don't see the appetite for it. Do you have any idea?
I don't know about TV rights. I mean, I'm kind of different than you guys. I kind of like this because even in the top leagues, there's only like in England, like the most you can have is 7 teams playing in Europe. Now more teams are playing in Europe, where it's a little bit more fair from top to bottom. Like you are all playing a certain number of games, and I know that the teams at the top have more money and are able to kind of make their squads more deep to kind of go through those competitions. But I think it's for like the domestic season and that being fair, and even smaller clubs getting to play in Europe. I think that's kind of better for big leagues.
But that's from an ideal perspective, right? The Europa League already is proven to have a negative impact. This is what I was talking about. Yes, in an ideal world, you're playing in Europe, you get more money, you can have a deeper squad, you can do better in your league and rise up. In reality, the Europa League often acts as a deterrent for your domestic performance. And so if you have more clubs in Europe that really shouldn't be in Europe, you're going to have even more stratification in the league. So again, from like an ideal perspective, which is what you're talking about, yeah, this would be really cool and interesting and awesome. The issue that I have is I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think you're going to see even more separation because of this.
I know the article is trying to make it seem like they want to represent at least 34 countries across their competitions in UEFA. So I think it's more of just giving everyone at least a shot of playing in Europe. But I didn't think about, however it's going to affect those teams like financially. And I know they are playing on Thursday. So those are more Thursday games, and, messing up the league schedules. More Sunday games will probably have to be played. Do you guys have
Mondays,
any? Yeah, Sunday, Monday games. Do you guys have any other comments about this?
I'm good.
All right, well, I think that's going to wrap up Matt's Megs. First, Matt's Megs, thank you for joining me. Listen to a little bit of music, and we'll be right back.
Good job. Excellent stuff. Hello. There we go. All right, cool. Christian, do you want to do the stadium scene? Matt, do you want to be involved in the stadium scene?
Nah.
One of these are going to have to get involved in, but fine. When we start
fine,
getting...
I'll do it.
Okay.
What do you want me to do?
Whatever you would like to do. What would you like to do?
They also partner with content creators like us.
Okay. So, Christian, do you want... Yeah, why don't we do this?
Sure,
why don't you guys do the stadium?
You start it.
And then I'll do the FNX.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Ready? Okay.
Oh.
So we're just giving... We're giving a shout out here to our partner Stadium Scene. They are a website that you should go check out, because anytime you're going to a stadium or any type of event at a stadium, you should look up what to do in that area. They have events, they have places to go and see, places to eat, places to go drink. Definitely check them out. They have US and Canada in there, and more is to come. What else do they do, Matt?
They also partner with content creators like us, posting, blogs, podcasts, websites to many different sports, not just soccer, and it's really cool. And you guys should go check it out at stadiumscene.tv.
All right, guys, that was good shit. All right. Yeah, cool. I think we had 4 viewers at one point, but now it's just
were we that bad?
But now it's back to us. No. We had 4 viewers during our segment, and then I think when we started talking, no, this may have been when we started talking about the Colangelos. We started to lose a couple followers by the end. At the end, we just had one, which is me. So we're back to just us talking, but that doesn't matter. You know, we'll get people listening, maybe watching the video in the future and or listening to the podcast. So Christian, whenever you're ready, timer started. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not ready.
Okay. Well,
how long was mine?
Yours was 17 with our intro, but our intro went a little long because Christian's weird trivia questions. So it was
Jimmy to 3. Nice.
What's the score?
We're up by 8. 50 seconds left.
Oh, so that's going to be.
That's a lock.
Is it? All right, I'm pulling up my topics. Sorry.
Okay, so it's Klopp pitch invasion.
Got it. Yep, got it.
Bayern, and then David Villa.
Oh, right. Robbed announcing.
I know what you meant.
Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome back from that break. I am Christian, and welcome to Christian's Corner. It's time to get started on the fun stuff. So, we're going to start with one of our favorite topics, our favorite man, coach in Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp. So, today, after Liverpool scored their goal in the Merseyside derby against Everton, they scored in the 96th minute to win the game. Jurgen Klopp ran onto the field. Mind you, the final whistle had not blown. Is this unacceptable? Do you think he's going to get fined? Do you think there's any type of ban that's going to come from this? I'll start with Dave because obviously you were watching the game today. What were your initial reactions, and what do you think is going to come of this?
My initial reaction was, that's awesome. Like, oh, he's celebrating. But the more I thought about it, I mean, I think he definitely should be fined and possibly suspended 1 match. I know that seems like, you're raining on a parade, but really, if I feel like Jurgen Klopp, because he can be so lovable and he kind of gets away with stuff that he really shouldn't. And I feel like a lot of people are kind of just making excuses for him because he kind of has a lovable personality, which is awesome. I'd rather be the way he is rather than the way Jose is. There we go. We got our Jose shot in for the week. But it was a step too far. The game is still going on. It's fine to, we've seen managers run down the sidelines or, do crazy things, spike water bottles, or do all kinds of weird things. But I've never seen a manager run onto the middle of the pitch. It wasn't like the player was right there. He ran a far ways away
to the goalie.
Goalie.
Yeah.
And then he had to run back. Like I think it was a little bit too much in this case.
All right, Matt, did you see this today?
Yeah.
Okay, and what are your thoughts?
Yeah. So unacceptable. I don't think it's unacceptable, but I think he should be penalized. It's not like like Dave was saying, he's so lovable. It's so hard to, just bring the hammer down. But I mean, you can't have managers just running onto the pitch. I mean, I know it's a derby. Wow, I said derby. Derby. I don't know why I said that. Derby match, rivalry match. There's a lot of emotion going on, 96-minute winner, but you just can't have coaches kind of acting like that, even if he's like this lovable guy and everything he meant was with good intentions. But there are certain guidelines you have to follow, certain rules you have to follow, and maybe a fine. And I don't even know if a suspension is really worth it. Maybe just a fine.
Yeah, I agree. I think he got caught up in the moment. Obviously, that is a huge moment in the season to win in the 96th minute, to keep pace with the front runners, and to beat your local rivals who I guess they haven't lost to in, 23 games or something at this point, something ridiculous. But it was just incredible. And at that dramatic moment, you kind of get lost in your own head. And I think that something will happen. I think he'll be fined. I don't think he'll be suspended, but I honestly wouldn't be surprised if, like Dave said, it is a 1-match ban. But I hope not. You guys have anything else on this topic you'd like to address? Yeah.
I don't Like I also don't understand with the goal that was scored to celebrate like that. It's not like it was like a banger, like a crazy rip of a shot that goes top
I
corner.
mean, he banged it right in there.
Yeah, but
Throw
like
it down.
like for a coach and like knowing the level that it's at and like seeing that go in, like it would have been funnier to like, or it would have made more sense if he was just like laughing, like I can't believe that just happened. Where like celebrating like that, it wasn't like emotion kind of.
Well,
I feel like that didn't really fit.
I kind of disagree on that because it was so fluky and so just like you wrote off the shot as soon as Van Dijk skied it. I mean, I listened to one announcer. I don't know if it was the official Liverpool stream or whatnot. We retweeted from the Bros Talking Soccer, but he kind of like sighed and was like, "Oh," when Van Dijk hit it, and like everybody just sort of wrote it off. And then all of a sudden, it's bouncing on the crossbar twice or hitting Pickford and then bouncing off the crossbar, and then like all of a sudden there's a goal. Like there's natural to just like have this wild reaction, but still, it at some point. While he was running out there, it had to have registered that like this was inappropriate because he ran like 50 or 60 yards. Like
yeah, but he probably realized it after he already was with Allison. He's probably like, oh shit.
I don't know. I think he before that.
He's probably like, I need you to walk me over to the sideline.
I don't know.
Do you think they saw me?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't. So like, yeah, I'll just disagree slightly. Yeah. Klopp sees out the rest of the match in the net.
All right. Yeah. So, anything else you guys want to add on this topic?
All right.
So, moving right along here, we're going to go over to the Bundesliga in Germany and to the biggest club that's there, Bayern Munich. They have had an announcement from one of their star players for the last, 10 years at least? Arjen Robben.
Probably around that.
He's been there a while.
I think he's been there since 2009.
Yeah, because
since he left Real Madrid, right? In 2009.
10 years at least.
So
2009.
This would be his 10th season. So, yeah,
right,
10th. Yeah, he's in his 10th season. All right, so he has been a star player for them. He's been one of the best players in the world for a couple of years during that time. I mean, at this point, he's 35 years old. I'm shocked he's still even getting starts this consistently, but he is. He is talented, but he announced in this summer, 2019, he is finally leaving Bayern Munich. Matt, I'll start with you. What do you think Bayern's Robben legacy is, and do you think that he'll go somewhere like MLS? Do you think he'll go to China? Where do you think he's heading from here?
Yeah, so his legacy at Bayern, he's going to go down as a legend of the club. He was there when they won Champions League.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, he won a Champions League with them. Yeah, so he won everything to win there. He almost won Ballon d'Or. He was finalist 1 year, right? He was top 3 1 year.
Yep. Actually, I don't think he was. No, Ribery was that year.
I thought a different year he was. He was among the best players in the world at his best. He's going to go down as a legend of the club. But it is probably time for him to move on. I know, was it last week or whenever the last Champions League match? I'm pretty sure he scored 2 goals. He's been playing pretty well when he gets time, or at least in that competition. But you can tell, physically, as he gets to 35, it's probably time you kind of realize that playing at that level, you can't keep doing that. You can't keep doing off seasons the same. I would love to see him come to the MLS for a player with that talent, but playing at those elite clubs,
play at
the
talent.
off seasons.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, play at talent. But yeah, play with that talent. But they, just those off seasons as you get older, they just get so much harder. And I just think for his career, it's a good way to sign off. At this age, I think it's a good point.
Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of players don't make it to 34, 35 at the top club. So, I mean, it's amazing, how long he has lasted. It's clearly time to move on. He is still performing to a certain extent. He got those 2 goals, but he's, been plagued with injuries throughout his career. And it just makes sense to move on for all parties. Now is the time. It'll be interesting to see how Bayern attempts to replace them. Maybe Alphonso Davies is that person. But and when I say them, because Ribery is kind of in a similar situation, I wouldn't be surprised if he's moving on, within this season as well. But it's the end of an era. It's a great era, but it is time to move on.
Do you think there's any specific place that he's going to end up?
It's so tough to tell because he's Dutch, so he's got the connections in the Netherlands. Does he want to go back?
You never know what the Dutch are going to do.
Yeah, freaky deaky Dutch.
Yeah. Does he want to go back to Netherlands? Will he try to go to, I mean, Japan seems to be signing everyone, which is, we're going to talk about next. Does he go there? Does he go to China? Does he try to come to MLS? Does he try another major European league? I mean, where has he not been? Serie A? He's been in Ligue 1, if we count that as a big league. He's been pretty much everywhere else.
Oh, wow.
Damn, burn.
Wow.
Well, no, I mean, it's pretty. I mean, that is the fifth, big league out there. That wasn't meant to be a big burn, but
just a little burn.
I don't know how much, there is really left for him to do in Europe, and does it make sense to go try to play somewhere outside of Europe?
Yeah, I agree. Anything else you guys have to add on this one, on Robben?
I'm good.
No? Okay. So, speaking of Japan, as Dave just mentioned,
transitions.
We'll go over to David Villa, the man who's playing for New York City FC in MLS. He just announced he is moving to Japan, which is shocking. I can't believe that this is an actual thing that's happening, but Iniesta just moved there. He's moving to the same team. Is it Kobe? I forget what the name of the team is right now.
I'm not sure. I'll look it up.
But Fernando Torres is also in Japan. This is a movement for the Spanish. It seems like that generation of Spanish players seem to all be going there, and they are stars in their own right. They were some of the best players in the world. What's up?
We sell Kobe or Kobe.
Yeah, I don't know how to say it. So, but
Kobe.
Yeah. So, I'll go to Matt first here. What do you think of David Villa leaving New York City FC right now, considering he's still having incredible years? And what do you think about him going to Japan to join Iniesta and Torres?
Yeah, I mean, it's sad to see somebody who was so successful at that, like one of the successful high-profile players that came to the MLS end up leaving. He definitely helped, progress the MLS and, got more big names. I think he was among the best MLS players kind of ever at this point. I'm surprised that he's going to Japan at this point, because I feel like he's already done his retirement tour of still being professional in the MLS, especially how many years he played here. Well, no, I mean, but that's kind of what they're doing here. I know money, but he made money here, and going over there.
Money.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense for where he's going in Japan to play with Iniesta and that generation that did so well for Spain, and I'm sure they're really close still. So I guess it makes sense to play with your friends maybe one last time.
Do you think it's weird that he's the captain of New York City right now, and he's just leaving while he's still having incredible production at that team?
Well, I mean, for him, it's not like captain means as much as, Gerrard at Liverpool.
As money.
You know what I mean? Like that's the club he grew up with. You know what I mean? I think it means something, and I think he's always going to mean something to the MLS and to New York. But it's not like he was, lived and died for New York.
And Dave, what do you think? What do you think the next step for New York City is now?
Well, they're going to have a lot of turnover there. Angel Herrera is most likely not going to be back. I know they moved on from Tommy McNamara, and I think Tommy Mac and David Villa were the last two originals from that team. So they're completely, turned over their roster from their expansion season. And, they have a lot of questions to answer. I know Dome, what's his last name?
Who?
Terrain? What's the guy from City? The coach, Dome. I forget his last name, but he didn't really prove himself in MLS, and he had a lot of issues. So I don't know what New York City is going to do on that front. They have a lot of questions to answer, and since Vieira left, I don't know if they've really proven a whole lot. Now, they did beat the Union twice in pretty heartbreaking.
And David Villa scored always.
Yeah, so it'll be
every time we played them.
Yeah, to see how they rebound. On the Villa front, Matt, getting back, I just want to address that players have such a short career, and David Villa has experienced the highs and played all over the place. But I mean, if you have someone else, I'm sure they're throwing millions of dollars at him to go live in Asia or something like that. I mean, why not go for the experience? And if he feels up to it, he feels motivated. Throughout his time in MLS, he was always a professional, incredibly committed, not always the case with kind of aging European stars that come over, but he was amazing. And so if he can continue that you know, professionalism and momentum, why the hell not go to Japan and make that money?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was kind of saying. Like, I'm just surprised that he still has miles left in the tank, considering what he gave to the MLS and you know, the amount of time that he was here.
Yep. The only thing I have to add on this is just at New York City FC, get a real fucking field, please, dear God. It is a joke to watch on TV and to see. Like, it's just painful.
I'll second that. Yeah, they really need to figure out that stadium situation.
Anything else you guys have to add on this or any other topic I've mentioned?
No.
No? All right. So that's going to wrap up Christian's Corner. I don't know if it was as much entertainment as you guys come to expect, but we did our best today. So we're going to go to a little musical break, and we will be back in just a moment with Dave's Dives.
Just a moment. Oh, very good. You even got the new name right. Look at you.
I read the email this week.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Matt, it's not the MLS, just so you know. So it drives me a little crazy when you say that. It's just MLS.
Again.
It's not the Major League Soccer, right? That sounds weird. Just Major League Soccer.
It could be.
I don't know if Matt's even here right now.
I'm here.
Okay, you are here. You're just ignoring.
I mean, the Premier League. It's Premier League.
Yeah, I know, but MLS, I don't know. Fans of it are so weird.
That's also not true. It's the Barclays Premier League.
Wait, hold up 1 second.
Okay.
Got 109% on my final.
Let's go.
Oh,
nice.
That was the one I almost freaking failed. Oh my god! Thank God, I'm actually gonna graduate.
That's awesome. All right, people that are watching this live on YouTube, that is awesome.
Oh my
That'd have been awkward if
Dave
flew home for that.
I was planning on taking this thing next semester. I was already looking. I was like, all right, no one has to know. I'm gonna walk at graduation. I'll take one online.
Oh my!
That's awesome.
That's great.
Oh my god.
That's
are we still doing this podcast? I need to go. No, we can finish up.
You're gonna go drink?
Yeah, that is awesome. So breaking news here, people. That is awesome. We're all very excited about that.
Please.
Great job, Matt.
Oh my god.
All right.
Fuck. So I'm throwing my phone. I'm excited.
No worries. All right, let me do a quick plug.
Always throwing your phone.
Yeah. Let me do a quick plug for FNX.network, and then we'll finish up, all right? And then you can go celebrate. Hey, everybody, what's up? Wanted to give another plug for our partner, FNX.network. FNX.network is a website that has stories, podcasts, and other kinds of content about a variety of topics: sports, entertainment, video games, lifestyle, tech, and more. Tons of awesome content. Our stuff's on there, Bros Talking Soccer, as well as tons of other awesome content. It's all on FNX.network. Go check them out, support us, and support their website. What's up, Christian? You're losing your shit.
Oh my god, Matt was just breathing so heavy during it.
I didn't hear.
He was just like, he just kept breathing heavily, like every time you were talking.
Sorry, I'm sweating a little bit. That was very nerve-wracking, checking that score. I was like, oh, fuck. It's like midterm 2 graded. I was like, uh-oh.
That's awesome. So wait, this was the class that you were, like, iffy about?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got like a 53 on the first test. And the tests were 40%. And the tests were 40% of our grade. So, like, there's only 2 tests. And, like, homework was the rest. Oh, and I killed that shit.
All right. Yes, that's awesome. Still finish up your homework. I know you have another exam or another homework due. Don't fucking write it off because I know you want to.
If I get a 0 on it, I still pass.
Dude, just fucking do the homework in case there's anything like that. All right.
All right, I'll think about it.
All right, please just do it for me. All right. Let's finish up this podcast. All right. What's up, everyone? Welcome back and welcome to Dave's Dive. It was pointed out to me that this is This is actually a triple entendre. So it's Dave Dive from the perspective of the soccer term. It's a dive from the perspective of, it could be a bar, or it could be a dive from the perspective of we're looking detailed at things. So it's a threefold. Yeah, Get excited. I know I'm excited. All right, first thing we're diving into is the Copa Libertadores Final. It was moved to December 9th and was supposed to be played outside of Argentina. They announced Madrid. Now River Plate has said that they will not play outside of Argentina. And so now there's a standoff. I don't know what the hell is going to happen. Christian, what do you make of this whole situation?
So I feel like the game should be played in Argentina. That is really where it should be. I know there's been a lot of shit that's gone down there, and I understand why they moved it for the time being. But they're moving it really, really far away from their fans, away from a lot of stuff. And I know the fans are the ones who are being punished for what happened, but I feel like this is almost crossing a line from the league or the cup perspective. Like, you have to really make this about the fans, about the club as a whole, and they're kind of not doing that.
But how do they, like, by having it in Argentina, are you just rewarding or accepting the fan behavior?
Well, no. Isn't there some type of search going on about what happened with the fans?
Maybe, but whether that leads to something or not, I mean, should the club be punished? Should it just be the fans?
The club should definitely be punished, which is just how it is, because they are your supporters and you're responsible for them. That's just what it is.
So what should be the punishment then?
I guess fines, maybe.
Right.
Or maybe the game is played there with an empty stadium, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I don't know. They would need to bring in basically military level security to prevent any sort of riot or something like that. I feel like if they try to keep people out of that stadium.
What it is.
All right, Matt, your thoughts on everything going down here?
Yeah, well, I agree with Christian's last point there, where I don't think anybody should be allowed in the stadium at this point, considering everything that's happened over the last week and a half or so. I don't understand. It's not something that should be this complicated. It's not like you're doing like international policies or something. Like, it's a game. You pick a date, you play. The fans are acting up, you punish them. They're not allowed to come anymore. Like, it should be something like that. There should be something in place to make it simple. And I understand that they're being how passionate they are and how it would be unfair to somebody. But you already made this. You already screwed it up by the riots you threw. Or everything that happened. So I think at this point, nobody should be allowed in the game. You play the game in Argentina, and then you move on.
But I think we're oversimplifying it. So I listened to Tim Vickery on the World Football Phone-In, and he's a South American correspondent, and he explained that, coming from our perspective, it seems easy, but basically the fan groups down there run soccer. So similar to a lot of South American countries, the fan groups elect the leaders, and so of the business side. And so a lot of times it's very political, and the leaders want those fan groups on their side. So it's not as simple as just saying, oh, the fan groups are forbidden or whatnot. Because honestly, the fan groups control soccer in that country, for lack of a better term. It's very kind of backwards from the standpoint of the way
how are they moving it, man?
We operate. The CONMEBOL leaders are finally trying to take a stand and trying to do something about it.
Then it's not on the club, it's on them. What does it matter?
It's not on the club, it's on them. Who's them?
It's on CONMEBOL then. And why would the fans care what their leaders are doing? Because it's not their responsibility of where the game's played or whether you can have people at the stadium. So, if CONMEBOL says no, the stadium has to be emptied, but the game will be played in Argentina.
Yeah, but if it's still in Argentina, the fan groups are going to find a way to either get in or put the pressure on. And if you move it somewhere incredibly far away, it's easier to sort of punish the fans rather than have it be in the country.
Well, can't they just have it in another South American country?
Yeah, I think that probably would be the best kind of right decision here. Host it in South America. And this was going to be my original point. I didn't like that it was moving to Madrid. I thought that it's the South American final, right? It should be in South America somewhere. If you move it out of Argentina, I can understand that. But I didn't love that it was moving that far away. But I agree that moving it further away from Argentina into another South American country might be good. Matt, you had something to say?
Yeah, I don't understand how you're accepting you're kind of trying to reward the fans where that should be punished. Saying they deserve the game because they run things. It's well, that shouldn't kind of be how.
I don't think that's what he's saying.
Yeah, that's not what I said.
But you're saying they're gonna get in anyway or something like that. by playing the game, it's like, well, you said like if it's that serious and getting military, like getting people like the military grade like weaponry to stop it and bring in the military, that would probably be necessary.
Yeah, but so I feel like you're oversimplifying it again. Like when somebody controls things, if you're in that country, it's easier for a group that is, operating illegally or has a lot of power to still exert that power and that influence. Whereas if you moved it overseas or you moved it out of the country and far away from that group, their control and their ability to influence that, lessens. That was the point I was trying to make. So I apologize if I didn't make that clear, but I'm not saying reward the people by moving the game. What I'm saying is that punish the people by moving the game, because I'm worried if you keep the game in the country, the leaders won't be able to keep those people in control. That's what I'm saying. Christian.
Okay.
Christian, you're making faces.
Sorry, are you not hearing the buzzing sound?
I'm hearing the buzzing, but it is what it is.
Okay, I'm hearing echo from somebody's end too. Let me unplug and then replug.
Okay.
Oh, wow, that got loud.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay. Technical difficulties here. Sorry, people. All right. We're back. Everybody good?
I'm sorry. You said Christian what?
You were just making a face. So I thought you had something to say, but it may have just been because of the buzzing sound.
It was the buzzing sound.
Okay. Any other thoughts on this, Christian?
No.
Matt?
No.
Okay. All right. Last thing I wanted to talk about. Let's move up north to North America. Drop down a division to the USL. The USL players have finally unionized and been recognized by the league, which is a big step. And so not for the next season, but the season after, the USL players will be able to negotiate with the league and basically have more rights. Have more rights. We've talked about on previous podcasts the fact that, USL players are paid very low in some instances. They don't have medical benefits outside of the office for some teams, or the field, I should say. And there's a lot of variety in how USL players are treated, and hopefully this can, move them towards a better standard of living and more professional. Matt, your thoughts on all of this?
Yeah, I think it's for the best in the development of soccer in this country. Having a second division, not only just the MLS. There you go, Dave.
Thank you.
MLS, be the only option for people trying to be professional soccer players, but having a life playing second division soccer, it's going to be great. It's going to make the United States better. We're going to have more talent. It's better for these people and their livelihood, but that's it.
Awesome. Christian, thoughts on the USL?
I think it's absolutely vital that they made this happen. I think that this is only going to improve the U.S.
Baxter, getting involved in the podcast.
Yeah, hey Baxty. So I think that it's really, really important for them because they need to start progressing in terms of having great players, even at the second division level. Like you said, we need to build from the bottom up. And the only way to improve our rosters at MLS and USL is to give people like just basic human things like insurance and benefits and just paying them compensation that is enough to live, at least to start. And I think this is going to be huge in terms of just providing great athletes and soccer players that opportunity in the U.S.
Absolutely. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. I don't really have much else to add. I'm just so much in favor of this, and this can only mean good things. As long as it doesn't, result in a work stoppage or whatnot. And even if that's the case, as long as it doesn't torpedo the league and really kind of bankrupt it or whatnot, I'm all for all of this. So, and they seem to be reasonable about this on both sides, and both sides recognize that this is important and something critical that needed to happen. So I'm excited about all of that. Guys, anything else to add here before we get to our listener questions? Matt?
Nope.
Christian?
Let's ask some questions.
All right, before we do that, quick plug, the Soccer Tavern. I have a YouTube channel called the Soccer Tavern where I make videos about the history, culture, and philosophy of the beautiful game. Please go check it out. We have all different kinds of videos on there, soccer terminology videos. You want to know what a nutmeg is and why it's called a nutmeg or a pitch. Club history videos of Premier League clubs, national team history videos, and more. Please go check it out, the Soccer Tavern. It's linked in the video description and podcast show notes. All right.
Does it have anything to do with the spice?
Potentially. You'll have to watch the video and check it
Or
out.
Matt's Megs.
Yeah, Matt's Megs. There you go. Call back. All right. First listener question comes to us from @Northwood Guitar. That is Matt, who gave his Matt's Megs suggestion and also Dave's Dive suggestion. He highlighted the situation with the Sky Blue FC owner. I'm going to go ahead and assume neither of you two read the article that I sent along
Fair
with
enough.
this. Yeah.
Fair assumption.
So basically, Sky Blue FC.
Well, you're in charge of us, so.
Yeah. So check out the Free Kick Pod for that reference, everybody. But basically, the Sky Blue FC owner, who is the owner of the women's team in New York, has basically been treating his players terribly. And so, I don't know if we have a ton of commentary behind this beyond just like, this can't happen and this needs to be a lot better. We'll link to the specific article that this is referencing and all of that. And it just needs to be better. I don't really know if there's anything else really more to say. Christian?
Be better.
Matt?
Do better.
All right. So, we'll link to it. We want to call this out. And honestly, I don't want to speak from a place of ignorance because we don't follow this quite as much. And so we want to highlight it. We want to call it out, but we don't, kind of know enough to speak intelligently on this. But we'll highlight it. And, please go check it out from our Twitter @BTSoccerPod. And we'll also, check it out there. All right. Next question's from @ConnorDunford1. What effect will the planned loan restrictions cause across the entire English football pyramid? So quick little background for listeners. FIFA is proposing to restrict loans to 6 to 8 max per club per season starting in the 2020-2021 season. Matt, what do you think about that?
I feel like it's more fair to the smaller clubs because right now there's teams like Man City who can loan out 30, 40 players, Chelsea, and it really isn't fair. We have like multiple teams, and it's kind of we just pick the best players. We get to try out so many people. We get to try out cheap investments, loan them out, and it's really not fair. So for the overall game, I like it.
Christian?
I don't know what Chelsea's going to do as a club. Their entire structure is built off of this. It's going to be hilarious to watch it crumble. So I think that I don't know if I really agree with this. I think that a lot of these players, especially the younger ones, need to be getting full game time. And if they're not going to be getting that at the top level, they need to be getting it just like down.
But then shouldn't they be sold?
No, because if you're going to use them in a year, that's not really fair to the parent club.
Well,
but then why is it fair? Why is it fair that you can just have everybody in the world?
But it's helping them for the time. The club is benefiting in the loaned club. The club that is loaning them is getting the benefit of having them on the team if they're playing every week and they're winning games.
See, I disagree. So I think 6 to 8 is enough to, if you have young players who you're really invested in and you want to get them game time, that seems to be enough. Why do you need 40 players out on loan? There's no way that you plan to have all 40 of those players involved with your senior team. So it's not like you're saying, all right, no loans at all. So your 6 to 8 top prospects go out on loan, or you figure out a better developmental system. And then the rest of the players need to be released or sold, and then they're on clubs that are incentivized in their long-term development. So for me, I actually really like this, specifically from a player development perspective. It's going to open up the market, and so you're going to see teams, I don't know, maybe like Bournemouth or some of the mid to lower level clubs be able to sign more talented players and be committed to them. And also, when a player's on loan, there's no incentive for that loaned club to really develop them in a lot of ways. It's just, are they performing right now, right? And if they have a bad game, a lot of times they're then buried. I mean, we're kind of seeing this with Matt Miazga at Nantes. He had, from all accounts, like 1 or 2 bad games under a new manager, and he's just been written off completely because there's no need for Nantes to invest in him and invest in him getting better. He's on loan, so why wouldn't they play a player that is better right now, or a player that they could potentially sell later on? And so for me, I think this incentivizes the lower teams and it's better for players. So I don't know. I'm kind of in favor of it. Matt, anything else you want to add?
Fully agree with you.
Christian?
Fully disagree with you.
All right. Next set of questions come to us from @SoccerNoobUSA. So his first one, he says, it's not a simple one, but what is the purpose of the offside rule? What is it designated to stop or compel? Christian?
The offside rule?
Yeah.
It's stopping cherry picking,
Okay.
obviously. I think that it forces the tactics of the game, especially for defenders. It adds a completely new dimension. Can you hear him licking right now?
No, I can't hear him licking, but for those who are not watching the YouTube video and only listening to the podcast, our family dog, or one of the family dogs, Baxter, is hanging out with Christian and getting involved in the podcast. Christian, continue.
So I think it's absolutely necessary and that it needs to exist because it stops attackers from just sitting inside the box, like in front of the goalie, and just, I mean, at certain times it stops them from just blocking the goalie's sight, for one. And it stops them from just standing and completely spreading out the game. I think that it forces the game to be kind of in a smaller space at times and to force intricate passing and figuring out new ways to attack instead of just kind of always being a straight up long ball and just having a big guy up there who's going to win it most of the time.
Matt, thoughts?
Well, yeah, because isn't the offsides rule, like when Pele was playing, wasn't the offsides rule not even around? Am I correct with that?
No,
really?
And that's actually the second question. So the second question is, what's the history of when and why it came into being? So
it was the Soccer Tavern.
Yeah, the Soccer Tavern. I don't know. I think I cut this from my history of soccer video because it just ended up being too long, and apparently other people didn't find it interesting, but I found it fascinating. The offside law was originally in the rules of soccer when they were first written in the 1860s. We can get into there have been many different versions, but the most widely accepted were written in the 1860s, and it had an offside law. But with that, it was you had to be beyond the last 3 defenders to be considered offside. And so the rule right now is you have to be beyond the last 2 defenders. And so the goalkeeper is generally the person that's back the furthest. And so of the outfield players, if you're beyond kind of the last person, you're considered offside. Now, back in the late 1800s and early 1900s, it was beyond the last 3. And so what ended up happening is you would have one defender kind of very far back, and it was really tough for offenses to attack because players were constantly getting called offside. And so the rule was changed from beyond the last 3 to the last 2 to promote sort of attacking play. But I think a lot of the reason why it's there is to prevent a lot of what Christian said. It's to sort of condense the game, get more people kind of around the ball, and make it more entertaining. Matt, anything else you want to add? Because I kind of took over there.
Nah, I mean, you guys pretty much got that one answered.
Okay. But yeah, there's a lot of information on like history and stuff like that. So Soccer Noob, if you want to check it out more, hit us up and we can talk more. All right, last question is from @KerC17. Thoughts on the recent comments about you have to be playing for your club's first team consistently to get a U.S. men's national team call up. Matt, thoughts on that comment? I'm not sure who exactly said it, but just thoughts on that concept.
So, I mean, I agree. Typically that, if you're going into a national camp, you should be like in form. You should be at the top of your game, and you kind of reach that level by playing week in, week out. But for this group, the group that we have, there are a lot of players like Miazga who plays extremely well for the United States for what we have considered in our camp, and he's not really playing regularly, or maybe even people complaining about Pulisic maybe not getting every single start at Dortmund, but he's obviously our best player. So in the long run, I agree with that, but right now I don't think it's as important.
Christian, what are your thoughts?
I think that we need the best players on the field, talent and just chemistry together. I think we need to have the same 11 most of the time, maybe throw in 1 or 2 different players every once in a while, but we need to have a consistent lineup that are playing together. I don't care if they're starting for their club teams right now, as long as they're getting significant training and are playing well together when they come together for the national team. That's all that I care about on this front.
So I agree with most of what Christian said. I don't think you need consistent players. I think you just need the most qualified, most talented players that have the best chemistry playing together, whether they're playing with their club team or not. It's tough to say. So generally it's tough to be in form and to be playing well if you're not playing club, right? And so over the long run, a player who doesn't get any first team minutes, really shouldn't even be the most talented player for the national team. So I think they kind of go hand in hand. And this is just kind of like a weird sort of situation right now. Christian, please stop doing whatever you're doing. Christian, Matt, anything else to add?
Nah.
Christian, you want to recap our trivia question? Do your best to.
I would love to. They clearly have to go out. So,
okay.
So the trivia question this week was: Man City have the record for least amount of shots on goal conceded in the Premier League era. Do you know how many shots per game they are giving up right now?
Okay, Dave, you want to go?
You said to 200ths.
Yes.
Or whatever. I'm gonna say
2 decimal points.
Two decimal points is 100th.
1.23 shots per game.
Okay, I'm going to say 2.86.
Wow, okay. So it's pretty much right in the middle of the two. So I think it was... Sorry, I need to pull it back up again. But, guys, I hope you're still thinking about it over there now that I said it's in the middle. Hopefully that's helping the listeners try and figure out what it is. It is 1.92 shots per game. And that is the record, followed by Chelsea in 04-05 and Liverpool in 07-08, which were 2.18 and 2.29.
All right, listeners, good trivia question, Christian. Hopefully you enjoyed that as much as we did, and hopefully you did better than Matt and I did and got a little bit closer. If you liked what you heard here, please consider leaving us a review on whatever podcast
You
platform.
can also do a podcast if you want.
Yes, podcast platform you listen to us on. It really, really helps us out, and I can't express how much we appreciate that and how much it really, really helps. Christian, do you want to tell people about our Slack channel?
I would love to. So we created a Slack channel, a little Slackyverse, if you want. And we have a bunch of different, I guess they're called channels, which are different topics that you could select inside of our channel. And I don't know if there's a specific way you can join. I think it's just Bros Talking Soccer. Yeah, and when you go into Slack, it's free to use, and hopefully everyone could just sign up. You could just communicate with anybody that's around. It's like an instant message system, but under each topic, you can just talk about whatever you want. So, we'll have a Premier League one, we'll have a Bundesliga one, we'll have a bunch of different leagues. We'll have MLS, we'll have international soccer, we'll have transfer rumors, we'll have a bunch of different things. Please go check it out. Please communicate with us because we'll be on there and ready to talk.
Yeah, and it's just a way we're talking with people. So
yep. To meet other people, go on there to integrate with everybody.
Exactly, integrate. Just talk with a bunch of other soccer fans. So Kerr C17, that's Christopher. He's on there. He asked a question, and Soccer Noob is also on there. And so we're just looking for listeners to just talk with. All right, Christian, if you're going to be doing that, please mute your mic. I'd appreciate that.
That was Keeper.
Okay, Keith, please don't breathe into the mic. All right, Christian's trying to deal with the dogs here. But seriously, message us at BT Soccer Pod if you want to get into the Slack, if you can't figure it out or whatnot. But we'd love to have as many fans in there as possible. If you want to get in contact with us, again, our Twitter is at BT Soccer Pod. Our email is bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com. We also have a website, brostalkingsoccerpodcast.com. Matt, what can people do on the website? You're muted, Matthew.
People can learn about us and our pasts, and they can also listen to episodes.
Yes, they can. And they can also support the show by going to the store link on our website, brostalkingsoccerpodcast.com. If you click the store link and are buying anything on Amazon, click the link to Amazon. No additional cost to you on whatever you end up purchasing, but we get a very small percentage of your purchase price, and it goes to help support the show. So we'd greatly, greatly appreciate that. Additionally, we're trying to grow this thing and trying to figure out ways to support the show. So if anybody has suggestions, on the Slack channel, we have a section for feedback and suggestions. So you can do it on there or send it to us via Twitter or, however you want to get in contact with us. Just Patreon, any other suggestions? I don't know. I don't want to come out with something and just say hey, if you want to support us, give us $5 and you can do XYZ. We really want it to kind of be collaborative and, want to hear from our listeners on what they would be interested in, finding ways to support us. And I mean, at the very least, just again, leaving a review or just telling people about the podcast helps so much. So we'd greatly appreciate that. Christian and the dogs, thank you guys so much for being here. Matt, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
All right, listeners, thank you so much for being here. If you want to check out the video and see our family dogs, go to YouTube and check all that out. We have the video up there. And thank you so much. We will talk to you soon. See you, everybody. All right. I think we are good. People that have checked out our YouTube, thank you so much for being here. We will be back. I will be back on Tuesday night. We're interviewing the Two Red Gringos podcast. They're two Liverpool fans. Christian, yeah, if you want to be involved. Yeah.
What day?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay. What time?
I don't remember. We'll take it offline. I think it's 6 p.m. West Coast time, so 9 p.m. your time. But I'll double check that.
I'll be in practice. Well, I probably won't be in practice because I'm still injured, but we'll see.
Okay. So,
damn, bro, you're gonna be on YouTube.
Yeah. So, I guess 8 p.m. Okay. Never mind. It's 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Did you stop the stream?
No. So I'm trying to let streamers know when we're going to be on. But check out our YouTube. Actually, check out our Twitter, and it's on there. So check that out.
I'm hopping
see
off.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.